Good morning. We're joining you today to tell you a bit about our journey towards anti-racism, and thank you very much to colleagues at the Black Leadership Group for inviting us to speak with you today. We hope to join you later on in the morning too. I'm just going to share my screen and talk you through the slides before I hand you over to So, my name is Andrea Birch, and I'm the CEO of Bassett Law and Bowles over CVS. And I'm going to be joined by my colleague Marjana Karpsing shortly, who's our CVS Community Development Officer, and tell you a bit about our ongoing journey towards anti-racism. This is an overview timeline of our journey so far. I came into post in September 21, just over 2 years ago. And in November 21, I joined the NAVCA Anti-Racist Working Group. NAVCA is the umbrella body for infrastructure organisations. And infrastructure organisations like BCVS exist to support voluntary and community groups to develop and grow with their volunteers, with other group development needs, and also to articulate and amplify their voice with other stakeholders and policymakers. So we have huge reach across our sector, and therefore in a really strong position to try and lead by example and share our learning with our wider membership base. In the new year of 2022, BCVS led the formation of an anti-racist alliance made up of 20 infrastructure organisations across Nottinghamshire, Derbyshire and South Yorkshire, which aim to increase collaboration, learning and implementation of the anti-racist principles, which were developed by the Anti-Racist Working Group nationally and launched in March 22. They're a tailored version of CIPD principles and are a really useful way in to consider how you can embed anti-racism in organisational development. Moving on to July 22, we joined the Black Leadership Group, and that really was a springboard to enabling us to really create a tailored and useful 10-point plan to develop our actions further. The membership involved participation in 2 sets of training sessions. The first one in November 22, which was a large session involving senior leaders, officers and trustees. And that was really important to have people at every level involved in that training and brought in right from day one. And involving 8 organisations with huge reach across our sector. Moving forward into this calendar year, we had the next stage of the training and development of the 10-point plan, which was really digging into what do we need to do to move this forward, get everybody on board. And the support and advice and gentle challenge that colleagues, and particularly Amajit at the Black Leadership Group, gave us on our journey was absolutely invaluable and really helped us to think differently and deeper about what we can do. And that's for many people, including myself, who've been on this journey for many years and been advocating for equity and challenging inequality. I learnt loads too, and it was a remarkable and privilege to be involved in that training. Moving forward in this calendar year, Marjana, who was part of the BCVS group that took part in the training, has really championed and led the way with embedding discussions and learning across our workforce. And she does that in lots of ways, including having a slot every other month at our whole staff meetings to talk about to share information, to share resources, and to talk about what it means to our colleagues individually and what it means for us as an organisation. And we've seen a massive move forward really in people's consciousness, in their understanding and their consideration of what they can do individually and collectively to support this goal. We've adopted, or I've adopted, the Everyone Everywhere All at Once term, which actually came out of sustainability training, but that's what's needed for this. whether or not you live in a diverse area or whether you live in a very white rural area, which is what our two districts look like in Bassetlaw and Bolsover. Anti-racism is everybody's responsibility everywhere, all at once, if we're going to make progress. So I think that's a great way of considering it. And we continue to move it forward in a staged process, step at a time, but continually moving forwards towards that goal. And it will be an ongoing journey, we know that. Sadly, it will probably be needed for many, many more years. So looking forward into next year, we're considering now, how do we scale up sharing our learning so far and our journey to date with a wider sector, not claiming to be experts, but sharing our learning and hopefully inspiring colleagues to join across our sector to join that learning journey. These are the principles. I won't talk you through them. They're on our website, but they offer a valuable practical way in to start considering the ways in which you can adopt and implement anti-racism in all dimensions of your organisation. And this slide is a word cloud based on an early exercise we did in a staff meeting at BCVS, asking, what does anti-racism mean to you? And generating that discussion and developing the understanding that it is not the same, of course, as being not racist. So some of these words illustrate that it's about action, it's about doing, it's not passive. And it was a really useful, quick exercise to start that conversation. So Marjana has taken us through the journey this year, or led alongside other colleagues, those conversations with colleagues, and I'm going to hand over to Marjana now to tell you a bit more about what she's been doing.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marjana Karp-Singh, and I'm Community and Group Development Officer at BCVS. I lead on the anti-racism training internally with 26 staff members participating. Coming from an ethnic minority background myself, as well as having worked with ethnically diverse communities for over 15 years in different capacities, allowed me to secure a better understanding around issues related to racism. Participating in the BLG anti-racism training not only educated me on principles of anti-racism, but it also empowered me to get involved in taking BCVS on board. I truly believe that opposing racism is everyone's responsibility, and that we can work together to change policies, beliefs, and behaviors that perpetuate it. At BCVS, we decided to take a gradual approach by dedicating a slot during our bi-monthly meetings to ensure consistency and to allow staff to reflect on the previous sessions and provide constructive feedback. Ensuring the topic is on the meeting's agenda not only enables colleagues to feel more comfortable to explore the issues around racism, but it also signifies the importance of the problem in our society. As Andrea already outlined, we conducted a survey asking staff to define anti-racism to ensure staff can recognize what it means and to check if they are committed to explore the subject in more detail in order to become active allies of anti-racism. To reinforce the understanding of differentiation between racism and anti-racism, we played a Not Racist versus Anti-Racist video. We also shared a powerful Channel 4 production where school children are being asked questions that demonstrate the disadvantages they face having to live with the consequences of white privilege. It was very emotive to watch both videos, and staff found the content quite upsetting. The deep dive, however, enabled colleagues to explore different forms of prejudice and stereotypes in our society, to set ground rules and create safe space to have an honest conversation. It wasn't our intention to make staff provide feedback at this stage. We didn't expect staff to share their experiences with racism either, although some staff spoke about their encounters of racism, not lived experiences though. In October, we collated some information from NHS Workforce Race Equality Standard. to show staff how BME employees in NHS are affected by discriminative behaviours at work. We chose to use data derived from NHS as it is UK's biggest employer, with 25% of its workforce representing people of ethnic minority background. We used it as it is very transparent, and it shows how 1/4 of the workforce of highly skilled professionals are disproportionately affected in regards to employment opportunities, with white colleagues more likely to be appointed from shortlisting, as well as career progression or pay. Other key findings include disparities in the likelihood of the BME staff entering formal disciplinary procedures, experiencing harassment, bullying or abuse, or being discriminated against. Now, we have also found that the most affected group was the Gypsy, Roma and Travellers, which we found quite surprising. We believe that we are now halfway through the during phase of the training, and we do acknowledge that we need to develop tools and action planning to empower organisations we closely work with to actively oppose racism. Concluding, as I stressed at the beginning, having staff on board with aspirations to succeed and the determination to push our work further, we believe that we will be able to successfully progress to the next stage of our journey. Thank you very much for listening.